All right, let's talk about the lab. And I will say, first of all, that I recognize that this unit was a little bit different than some of the ones that we've done in the past. Most of the time we're actually writing code together and developing apps. And this time I was just kind of walking you through an app that I had already written. But the goal is the same, right? Basically to get you to a point where you're able to do some more complex things. And you're going to be doing this on the lab here. I already walked through the lab, since the lab and the starting code were essentially the same app. So let's just talk about what's going on in the lab itself, just to make it totally clear. Right, your goal is to add the grade entry functionality to the app. The starting code that you get should have nothing having to do with grade entries, right? Maybe a couple to-dos in various places. I might leave in a little bit of the code that I wrote for grade entries, but I'm hoping to pretty much take it out and have you recreate it. Basically, if just looking at code is one thing, but actually having to go through and write some code yourself is going to help really immerse you in it. Because really my goal in all of this, right, I want you to get even better at working with model objects, particularly with Firebase, right? I want you to have some more practice with doing these queries, right, on the Firebase, where you're only looking at in this case, looking at grade entries that are associated with a specific assignment, right? So doing the queries. Dealing with keys, right? So grade entries are going to have two keys to other things, right? So a student key, and they're going to have an assignment key, right? A little bit more with fragments in UI, although honestly, you're probably going to be able to get away with a lot of it, just kind of copy and pasting some things that are in the other fragments. So not a huge deal there. And you'll need to write the rules for your data schema for grade entries, and then compile them with Bolt, if that's the direction you choose to go, and go ahead and upload those into your GradeRecorder. Right? So all the specifications in the lab, you're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be challenging and everything, but you're up to a challenge, because you always are. All right, just to kind of wrap up here, the main ideas, right? So by the time you finish this lab, what are you going to be able to do? So you have experience now, some with designing and implementing apps that has data of multiple types, right? So these different what would be tables in other databases, but along different paths, I guess, in Firebase, right? To design some simple data relationships, we talked about how to design what we had. Use Bolt to do some of this, to do some validation. Use keys in the Firebase queries, and even look at things that are doubly linked data. Okay. A little bit of experience, if even just looking whether you, depending on how much you use this or not in the code that you write, you might not be writing any yet, but you might need to on your project, and so you've at least been exposed to that. And finally, just further experience with Firebase and with stuff from the UI. And I'll be honest, that whatever you do, what I've given you here isn't going to be perfect. It's not going to solve all your problems. There's always interesting things that come up within any project that any team does in the course. But I hope that you're at least going to be more prepared, right? Not just throwing you to the wolves. You've seen some different things that Firebase can do, and seen a little bit more complex app that should generalize to what you're doing a little bit better, right? So that was the goal of this week. Enjoy. Right, and look forward to checking off your labs. Right, see you later.